Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people hate reading. This month's theme was the movies that should be 5 out of 5, so Ryan picked the movie Usual Suspects, made in 1985, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston,
and the old guy is here.
So who has the description of this movie?
I have it here.
I have it here.
Shut up.
And you say you don't want to be a
A
telemarketer.
sole survivor tells the twisty events leading up to a horrific gun battle on a boat, which began when 5 criminals met at a seemingly random police lineup.
Yeah, so this is one of the things, this description, back to IMDb, who the hell writes these damn things?
Crackheads.
One kind of important section took apart on the boat, but wasn't there a whole bunch of other crap?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff.
It'd make you feel like
somebody who writes in Twitter words.
It's 124 characters.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Bit description. Oh, totally.
Worst description
I
ever.
gotta say though, I love this cast: Benicio del Toro, Stephen Baldwin, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Spacey, and Dan Hedaya.
I know Kevin Spacey's the main character, and everybody gives him a lot of credo for playing a retarded gimp guy or whatever the hell he was supposed to be. Dude, Benicio del Toro plays a fantastic freaking role.
Oh, he does.
I mean, just amazing.
Even though you can't understand half he says.
It's
I can
pretty
understand
funny,
his
isn't it?
damn self fine.
I
wonder how hard he had to work on that.
Probably pretty damn
I
hard.
know, you gotta learn to mumble.
Probably not. Look, he's from a pretty intensely cultured place. I think in like New York. I think he's Puerto Rican, and
You gotta just crank
it
that
probably
up a
wasn't that hard for him to know somebody who probably talks just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably did.
He probably
I mean,
grew
this
up
is-
with a
it's
kid
the
that
who's
talked
who.
like that, and he said, "That's my
'Cause,
inspiration."
the old guy here and I were watching it together, and half the time we turned to each other. Did you hear what he said? No. Did you? A little.
A couple times we rewound it just to see if we could understand what he was trying to say.
I love it, though.
It took me about the third or fourth time before I really started laughing at the things that he said.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they're hilarious.
But I actually thought he had the breakaway role. When his character got iced in the movie, I was like, no, he was the character I liked the most. Because he was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, he didn't really give a shit.
The combination of him and Stephen Baldwin, I really wanted a sort of a prequel movie of how they worked together over a lot of years.
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic?
Even though
That
Stephen
would be a
Baldwin's
great buddy movie.
Even though Stephen Baldwin, this movie, can fire a bolt-action rifle without actually reloading.
I know, I thought the same thing. I watched him hit the thing. I'm
Was
like,
it
really?
action? I didn't notice
The rifle scene was wrong, and
Yeah, it was-
we watched it a couple times, and what was happening is he had a bolt-action rifle that was acting like a semi-automatic,
I know.
and they
Yeah.
cut away. Every time he was meant to turn and do it, the scene would cut. So
And 3 guys would die.
Oh yeah, the amount of time.
So it turns out Oswald wasn't a fag.
Well, exactly. I mean, and I said the same thing. I said, well, Oswald did get 3 shots off, but it's pretty tough here. So
Yeah, I noticed that this time watching it too, because this is actually surprisingly the only second time I've seen this movie. And I noticed that I saw him go the bolt action, and
Yeah.
I remembered watching it previously, and I'm like, I think I missed that last time. I think
Yeah.
I didn't recognize that he had a bolt action right there, because that's not how this scene works.
well, you got a couple of gun guys here. We're not going to miss that.
'Cause
And it was
I
like, really?
Because I remember when I first time I caught it, I just remember I was telling the guy, like, we both remember the first initial load.
First time loaded.
Then after that, I don't remember any of it, so we rewound it and go, wow,
Oh,
he
now
shot
that you
3
mention it,
people.
I actually do remember him racking a bolt back.
Yeah,
It
he
was.
does.
The very first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the very when he
When he's
first
getting
sits
ready.
down, he
Yeah.
pulls it back.
Right.
What you wouldn't see is the fact that that type of rifle that kind of throws you off your aims. You got to realign a little bit, and so I just thought it was
Yeah.
fun.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, the view that they gave you was sort of from the front,
Yeah.
looking down. Couldn't really see. All you really see is the magazine kind of hiding there, and
Yeah.
then you just
Hey.
used a semi-auto.
We decided that this is one of these movies that has the magic guns. They never ran out of ammunition.
Insta-give.
He could
Same
shoot.
thing with the MP5s. Those obviously probably had
Okay.
400 round
And-
magazines.
Oh yeah,
and on top of
absolutely.
that-
And so it's okay.
Was I the only one that was getting frustrated by the gangsters?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. by
Where's
the
my
way.
side sight?
Yeah.
I was like, are you guys serious? You guys are supposed to be professionals. And each one of you is pulling it.
Wasn't that Kevin? That was Kevin
Kevin Spacey and another, and the cop did it too.
I gotta say, this movie, the
Another
tagline for this movie is "We screw with cops," because that so far is my favorite part of this movie.
Yes.
Was, especially in the beginning when Kevin Pollak's character was messing with the cops.
Yeah.
I that's my favorite scene in this whole thing, because the cops get pissed and start beating him up, and he's like, with his hand up, not being able to. He's like, "What?" Hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the entire lineup scene when they're just standing there reading the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, that was funny.
Everybody's reading. That's why I was saying this is the who's who of character actors, because they become those individual characters so well that everybody, exactly who they are just from them reading that line.
Yeah.
I just love
though
Benicio's.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Even though I had to rewind Benicio del Toro so I could actually know what he said. It's like, what was that?
That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, I really do think this is actually one of my favorite Benicio del Toro roles, and I actually have quite a few of his roles that I just like. But to bring it back to Kevin Spacey's role, because Kevin Spacey got a lot of accolades for this film.
Oh, yeah.
He got a lot of props for it. And the thing that ruined me on his role in this film was I had seen the score before I watched this one. Ryan, do you know which one the score is?
Marlon Brando?
Robert De Niro and Edward Norton stealing a priceless scepter, and Edward Norton plays a retard in that one. And his version of playing, I guess I should.
Yeah, you better back that up.
You're
gonna have to beat
retarded,
that.
handicapped person.
That's
and then,
okay, he can
and then
say
Kevin
that.
Spacey playing the
touched.
retarded,
He just got
handicapped
kicked
person.
off
I think
Right.
Edward Norton does way better of a role than this one, especially with the hand thing. I didn't think that was really proper.
They were different
They
characters. Just I mean, he had a mild case of CP in this movie, for crying out loud. He walked with a little, but he was a con man. He was a con artist. He had these little clever mind games that he played with people. He was like more on the autistic spectrum than anything else. Probably.
By the way,
I thought it was a Parkinson.
I'm
I thought
killing
it was
your
an
video for a
early
little
Parkinson.
bit. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was, but when there's a scene where Edward Norton goes normal, and then Kevin Spacey's version of going normal was they focused on his feet, whereas Edward Norton, they kind of did like this shadow play type of thing where he corrected it, and it was really well done. I think that you should watch the score and see how they compare in the ways that they played the kind of character acting of that role. But I think that that's what ruined me on Kevin Spacey's, because if I look at it and I give it a little bit more thing and kind of try to forget Edward Norton's, Kevin Spacey does a decent job.
How many years apart would which was made first, the score or this one?
This one was made first. This one was made in, I think, 93, 95. And the score was made in 2001. So 6 years difference.
You know what? I want to give Spacey props on this anyway, because just imagine having to film all the scenes that he did, holding his hand like he was, and walking scenes. That's got to be hard on you. And because it's not, how many takes? 20, 30 takes.
And he doesn't
things.
switch, because a lot of actors, when they act like that, they'll switch hands or switch foot. He stayed pretty
good to character. Yeah.
And that one scene was the second heist. There was the first heist that went wrong with Stephen Baldwin dual wielding. I was imagining achievement unlocked, like the Xbox thing. That was, I actually put that in my notes.
That was a pretty
unlocked.
good spot right there where he did that.
It's like,
and
that was fun.
Yeah.
Nowhere near realistic, but it was fun.
He's still no Adam Baldwin, but not bad.
Stephen, you mean?
No, all you Firefly fans out there. By the
He's
way,
not actually technically a Baldwin.
Not a Baldwin. Yeah.
No. By the way,
well, he is a Baldwin, but not one of the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah, not one of the Baldwins.
He may be a cousin twice removed.
There's a relationship there somewhere.
I gotta say though, that's the longest 2 hours in history, far as his interview going.
Oh,
because when they told Kevin Spacey's character, they had that because they said he already posted bail
like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it was like the longest 2 hour 20 minutes ever.
I actually really enjoyed the way that they played that movie. Yeah. That way, where they go into the part where they meet each other, and then he goes into the detail of kind of how they got everybody into the heist, and then all of a sudden they just kind of changed it to the point where he's being interviewed because he's the only survivor.
Was from the perspective of that interview, so it
yeah,
was all this
I enjoyed that.
No, I agree. And there's not a lot of wasted.
That's fine.
Sorry, Ryan. And there's not a lot of wasted scenes in this movie either. Not a lot of like throwaway scenes or scenes that you don't really need.
Everything had its place and its purpose.
Yeah.
I was impressed by that.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed seeing the one of the drug guys from Breaking Bad as a young actor. It took me a second to realize that's him. Yeah, as a very young guy, very young, and I enjoyed seeing him in this role.
By the way, did any of you guys catch Clark Gregg in this movie? You know who he is?
Yeah. It was like a scientist or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't actually put that in my notes, but I was surprised he was in this because
Doctors.
Yeah, because if you guys don't know who he plays Agent Coulson and Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. and almost every Iron Man or Marvel movie.
No, I didn't catch him in the film, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I saw.
It was fleeting. It was really quick.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, holy crap! It's Agent Coulson.
Yeah, that was a good eye, dude. I mean, I've seen this movie, half a dozen times. I haven't caught that. But then again, I didn't see the bolt action semi-auto switch.
Well, I generally I generally notice the gun stuff, but
one of my favorite characters in this thing, real quick, was Pete Postlethwaite, who's not alive anymore. But I mean, this was one of his standout roles for me. Everybody always looks at a couple of his other ones, but he was the lawyer, Kobayashi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked that.
Yeah,
guy.
I like Kobayashi.
Dude, everything you've ever seen him in, he will steal the scene. Because he's that good.
Yeah.
He was
a
excellent.
very good actor. Yeah,
he was good.
Well, according to this, he died in 2011. His last movie, according to this, was Inception. No, the weird thing is
Bryan liked that movie.
The Indian accent sounded weird to me though, because I was looking it up and he's not Indian.
I thought it was fine.
To me, I don't know. There was a few scenes that sounded really out of place, like the way he did it.
I thought it was fine. I know what you're saying. Like he took it a little too far in a few spots, but no, I think it was actually pretty well done for somebody who's not actually from there.
Yeah.
Not an expert on accents. I mean, I would assume that India is no different than the United States. There's different sections where there's an accent added on to what they already have. So it would be hard to criticize not really knowing the whole...
Not knowing all the accents and all those...
Because there's got to be...
regions.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, every country has that.
I gotta say though, for a movie that's basically a bunch of archetypes and stereotypical characters, they did really good on not only keeping each character very separate, not a whole lot of overlap, but have them interact very well too.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
because a lot of them, you had Adam Baldwin, who was kind of the crazy. Excuse me, Stephen Baldwin. Sorry,
get
Adam.
it right.
I'm sorry. Don't hurt me.
Just one of the Baldwins. Who cares?
Stephen Baldwin was kind of the crazy gun nut guy. Never was sure what he's going to do. Benicio del Toro was kind of the don't really care guy.
Oh,
Stephen Baldwin. My problem.
My
problem with Stephen Baldwin is I'm not sure he was acting.
He's a Baldwin brother, so he may not be.
He's probably against guns.
It was probably, but I think my point was that it's just it didn't seem so out of character for him. It wasn't a hard stretch for him.
Well, Stephen is the Republican out of the Baldwin brothers, so maybe he's for guns. I do want to know what you thought of what I said though earlier, Ryan, about the kind of all stereotypical characters.
The what now?
Never mind. Move on. Next.
Well, how
there wasn't a driver.
True.
Who was the driver?
Like all the characters are very stereotypical, very, very linear on the character.
Not necessarily. I mean, they're archetypes, but I mean, for each one they'll go into little things. I mean, they didn't seem that stereotypical to me.
I think they did.
Stereotypical for 1995. This is the movie that makes you think that all those characters are stereotypical now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is they take them, I think that's what John's trying to say, is that's what they take. They take, you got the demolitions guy, you have, who's the mechanic, and then you have the gun nut guy, and then you have the mastermind, and then you have
the bad cop.
You have the scapegoat, basically Kevin Spacey's guy, the guy that they can just kind of leave behind, the throwaway guy, which
Benicio.
They were trying to... Yeah, then you have the crazy guy.
Yeah, that was...
the guy who didn't really give it a credit.
Yeah, the guy...
Kevin Pollak.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Pollak was the guy.
The mechanic.
The mechanic.
The
Or
mechanic,
the demolitions guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
so I guess to answer your question, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what he was saying. Is they have stereotypical characters that they brought in, and then they
That's perfect for the
kind of
movie.
interact with each other and play around. That's
Yeah.
kind of how they're.
And I thought they did that pretty well, is because, I didn't really catch kind of the stereotypical thing until after I was giving it some thought. It doesn't stand out until after the fact, which I thought that really played out very well.
But that's the damn title of the movie, person. Come on, The Usual Suspects. Who do they usually go for?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys. That's the point of the movie. Is they take those
totally.
guys, and those are the usual suspects. That's the point of the lineup in the beginning of the movie.
And that's the line they say in the beginning of the movie is, "What you guys leave me the hell alone."
In the story, he mentions that the reason they were all chosen and set up to be in that lineup where the lawyer was supposed to meet up with them in the first place. It wasn't the cops just picking those guys up randomly.
It was because of
Right.
Kaiser Soze.
They were put in there
Yeah.
in order to be blackmailed in order to do that specific job.
Yes.
The
So
guy from
that's why there was the usual suspects
Yeah,
where each guy had their
that-
special. He
that's-
was like assembling the Magnificent Seven.
But
Right.
that's what I think it was Stephen Baldwin said in
So
the
it makes sense
when they
that they
were
would-
locked up is they never take a bunch of criminals and all put them up in the lineup. They usually use bums or people they find off the street
Right.
Right.
to put in the lineup with the actual criminal so that they can pick them out. They don't put all criminals in there.
So the story totally covers your stereotypical theory.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be
I know.
stereotypical. That hence the title of the movie.
Usual suspects. Yeah, but it's not something because I've seen some movies that use very stereotypical characters, and they're all blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Very, and this
Well,
one I
because
thought
they're
they were.
usually there for a short period of time. They're the
Oh,
the
yeah.
wacky neighbor or the guy at the grocery store who says some quirky shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or the best friend who, just kind of follows the main character along.
yeah, and I thought
At least if the movie's any good.
yeah, and I thought they did a really good job of that. Honestly,
You know, I was thinking about what was my favorite scene in this movie, and I was thinking towards the end, at the very last scene, where the sergeant he was
Okay.
in the sergeant's room, and Spacey had already left, and he's got a cup of coffee, and he's looking at the
Yeah.
bulletin board.
And
Right.
it all comes
Yeah.
He's looking at the bulletin board, and he's seeing the names and the guy, and he's relating the stories to what Spacey was saying, and then it's all of a sudden, where
I
it all
agree.
came to. I thought that was a well done scene. I really thought that.
I
that was
agree.
good.
The first time I saw it, I thought that was a really well done scene, and even still, I think it's a well done scene. But for me, it was a little disappointing because it was just one of those that I'm like, okay, it's a total whodunit movie,
mm-hmm.
and I think the one thing that threw me off was the kind of Desperado-esque as he's telling the story of Kaiser Soze killing his family, and they
In
have
Turkey.
a character that looks like Antonio Banderas,
Yeah.
and in Desperado,
Yeah.
the long ass hair
Right.
and everything. It's like that's not you.
At least
Spacey.
it didn't have the
But,
guitar.
it's like it totally. I guess they gave me too many hints the first time I saw it, and I knew it was going to be Spacey. But I like movies like that because I love to try to figure it out before they tell you.
That was actually like my first question is how long into the movie until you figured it out?
The first time,
Yeah.
because the second time I knew right away.
Oh yeah, the first time. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, James, I've known this guy forever. I've been in movies with him like the 5 minutes. He's like, this guy. It's like, no way. It's like, you asshole. You were right at the end of the movie.
Do you want me to
done
tell you all
that.
you want me to tell you all the twists and turns too?
Yeah. So
It's like
so,
no, it's but
So how long? Because I'm dying to know.
I think it was right when the
turkey.
Kobayashi came in with all the envelopes and passed them out. That's when I really knew.
Oh,
Right when he passed out all the envelopes, I'm like, dude, come on. Okay, this is just getting old, dude. I know it's you.
Okay, then I'm impressed. That's actually not too bad.
Because, and then, that was my first hinting. And then when he's standing up there and they took his, what was his name? This guy, the actor's
he's
character's name.
Gabriel.
Dean Keaton.
Yeah, Dean Kane.
Keaton, when Keaton's girlfriend was downstairs and they were holding him hostage, and just kind of the way that Kobayashi and Kevin Spacey looked at each other, I'm like, okay, that confirms it. Because he gives him a look right there that if you don't know it's actually him, you kind of figure it out. Because he's looking at him like, I got a gun in my head. How far are we taking this? Type thing is when he looks at Spacey. If you watch the movie the second time, you'll get to see that. Anyway.
So, Ryan, what do you give this movie?
The 5. And
That's the point of the theme.
I know.
yeah, relax. The reason
He better be give it a 5.
I know.
There's no wasted scenes in this movie, as far as I can see. There's nothing that I would say needs to be edited out for any reason whatsoever. Everything is awesome, and all the scenes individually were executed incredibly well, moved everything along. The pace of this movie was perfect. The writing was good. It was a whodunit, but not really told in your standard way. So it kind of, I didn't really get it until Spacey shot the dude in the head who had all the coke and whatnot, because that seemed really deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was only a hint. And then I'm thinking, nah, that's probably not. I had a couple moments where I'm like, nah, I'm overthinking this shit. But it's one of those where you are in your head while you're watching this movie. And even after who did it, this movie is still fun 5 or 6 times later. You know, it's one of those, you don't even have to know somebody who hadn't seen it.
So, Rob?
So,
This is the one.
first of all, I had a really good time with this movie. It was a lot of fun. It was a real kind of whodunit, who's doing what, twists and turns, and I liked the fact that I'd never seen the movie before, and it was like, hey, this is pretty cool, you know. It was, the beginning did drag a little bit, but that's okay. It was a setup, and I understand that, and so I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. With that said, for me, it's still a 4. I still don't think quite there. Cinematically, and some of the other things that were done with some of the mistakes that they made and such. For me, I'm nitpicking, yeah, but for me, it's a 4.
James?
You know, if I go back to the first time I saw this movie, yes, I like I said, as I compared it to Edward Norton's acting ability in the score. But, you know, I still think, like Rob said, you know, even though I figured it out, I still had fun with the movie. And that's actually where I come back to it is how much the first time did I see this movie, did I enjoy it, and did I kind of get into it? And that one, I'm kind of on the fence, but I think I'm going to go with a 5. It's not like a strong one, but it still
you
is
guys
there
give 5s too easy.
because Benicio del Toro,
Really?
like I said, just makes this movie for me, and the amount of fun that he adds to this movie, even though he kind of dies a little early, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
think he should have been Kaiser Soze and lived, but you know what the hell. Anyway, but yeah, I think this one deserves a 5. I think it's someone that if I know the person hasn't seen it, I'll say here. Yeah.
No, I'll agree. I give this movie a 5 out of 5 on the sole reason that it was entertaining enough not to make me pick it apart in the first 20 minutes, which is I have a tendency to do. You know, I wasn't analyzing camera angles, shaky cam, looking for plot holes. I actually had enough fun to just sit back and let it play. So for me, it's a 5 out of 5 because I do that with everything. This is the first movie in a long time that I've actually just got to sit back and
And I want to
enjoy.
mention one more point because you said something about the cinematography and just the way they kind of did scenes. Is that for me takes me back to the 90s because that's really a 95, 90-ish
Yeah.
feel that they give this film. And it's one that is
I
not
would
going
go
to
back.
hold up.
I would go back further. I'm thinking
Late
of like the
80s?
boat. Yeah, because I'm thinking of the boat scene. If you look at the boat scene and the explosion and where they're doing the gunfire and all of it, some of it was so 80ish.
Yeah,
in
I
its
could
feeling.
see that. I could
But-
see that.
yeah.
But that for me, the late 80s and the early 90s in cinematography kind of just blend together at times because there's some movies
Yeah,
that,
they-
like
sort of
Jurassic
this
Park, that
spot.
pushes it.
Right.
Advanced it. But this film, for me, is comfortable where it's at.
They
is
do
what I would say.
It does kind of look like it
Yeah.
borrowed sets from Lethal Weapon, Miami Vice.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
So I get the 80s feel, but I'm saying that, you know, if I look at it and I see 95 and I kind of get a feel of what late 80s, 90, early 95, or, you know,
Right.
mid-90s,
Right.
I just kind of blend that all together
Well-
because they didn't really push out of there until like 98.
See, what got me about the movie was
Totally
that
agree.
reading the notes from the director is they shot it in film, and it was right at the digital age where everybody was going digital and doing digital editing, and he decided to stick with film editing. So it stayed to the period, basically the end of the film period
Yeah.
before digital editing was coming.
That
So-
actually explains a lot because that
Yeah.
explains the look and the palette and the feel of
Yes.
of the movie.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's part of it. But I think that's why I only gave it a 4, is I'm thinking, gee, maybe we could have done a little better here on
Oh
that.
yeah,
But,
they
you know,
definitely could have done it better. But
excuse me. But I don't get me wrong. I loved the movie. I'd highly recommend it to anybody
Yeah.
out there.
so that's the one thing I just want to mention, because that's one of the things I did notice as well. But I was just kind of looking at it as 95 and just kind of, you know, it's that area.
And Singer's like first movie, big movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
on a $6 million budget.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie's made that studio a fortune compared to that.
Yeah.
You know, but it was funny reading some of the stuff on the background on it about it, how much this movie was not mentioned in many areas. It was like a movie that was made that people didn't know about.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't shown on very many screens when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was on less than 50 screens, I think, all over
wow,
the country.
50?
I mean, so the big cities would have had it, but everything else, sort of middle America, would have never really picked it up. And I mean, it became such a cult classic
Right.
afterwards.
Right, yeah.
You can't not find this thing on somebody's, top 50 list.
So
Sure.
James, you're up.
Yeah, I was gonna get there. You don't gotta push it. Don't go push it. Relax.
Hey, I'm the
He's not
timekeeper
feeling
here.
well.
So we've been talking about that we're going to be watching Band of Brothers. So for audience out there, we discussed it and we decided that it's going to be a little bit hard to bring in each episode every week. But what we want to actually do, so we don't get kind of lost and just have a big old long show at the end where we're trying to
Remember everything.
remember
Yeah.
everything and be a little disheveled. Oh, what about the episode 1 when we're talking about episode 10, in one sentence? So we're going to be having 2 topic points at the end of each week, or
Each episode.
yeah, at each
show.
episode that we're doing the show, we're going to have 2 talking points about the previous show that we discussed watching. So we're going to be starting with Kirahi. Next week is going to be the Day of Days, and we'll mention this as we do the show. So today we're going to be doing Kirahi,
Part
and we're
one.
going to have Ryan start us off on Kirahi on 2 points that stood out to him.
Well,
Sorry.
thank you.
It's an explanation. We got to have an explanation. What are you trying to talk? Are you trying to talk? What? What'd you say?
Shut up.
I couldn't hear you. What?
James, I'm
Are
going to
you
smack
doing
you.
this?
I told you I'm in a bad mood.
Brian.
I can see why.
So you're lucky. You don't have to be here with these two knuckleheads.
Oh, no, he has. You should see what
Okay,
James
well, I don't
does
know
by
if I can
text
stick to
message.
the whole 2 talking point thing, but the one thing that I'm thinking of at the moment is, okay, first of all, I was never in war or anything like that, and I have no frame of reference for anything that happened in 1940. I've seen a shit ton of documentaries, probably like every kid my age.
Shit, you weren't in Korea?
That being said, shut. That being said, watching sort of the I mean, because this is obviously a really in-depth, kind of storytelling
can't see
thing from the beginning. First of all, seeing the old man talk in the beginning, I mean, knowing like, oh man, like, okay, this is some people who are gonna survive some intense shit. The whole training sequence throughout all of that, David Schwimmer being this weird captain trying to make everybody into machines, but for me the whole feeling of it was, I know what's coming next. You know what I mean? Like, I know what they're training for. That was 82nd Airborne.
Yeah, it was
101st.
101st Easy.
Okay, 101st. Yeah, Screaming Eagle.
Easy company.
Easy Company, yeah. Screaming Eagle, yeah.
Anyway, so they're dropping into France. So I know that's coming. So the whole attitude of everybody, like, I'm just like, I'm nervous for everybody that it's all going to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes any sense.
Yeah, I would put it this way, is when you look at it, these are actually men. These people did extraordinary things in extraordinary circumstances, and they are actually human beings just like you and me. And that's the one thing that is amazing to me is, and I understand what Ryan's trying to say. And one of the older gentlemen, I don't remember who it was. I think it was probably Bill Garnier, I think, said it. And they tell you who these people are later on in the show. Said, he didn't go out there and try to do anything for medals, for anything. He just went and did what needed to be done. And that's just an amazing thing to me, because what these guys did really set the standard for men later on. And it was one of the few, I think they said there was not a war fought like this ever since.
And the craziest part, is they kind of figured out what they're doing during the
Why
warfare.
they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because the last frame of reference for war was World War One, which is a completely different style.
Yeah, they did trench warfare.
These guys just kind of figured out as they were going. So I mean, that's a hell of a challenge.
It is.
Right.
And
It was such a new thing going on with the parachuting and thing, landing it behind enemy lines, etc. One of the dudes, I had a quote. One of the man had a quote that they didn't volunteer to, be the best of somebody, or to be heroes. They volunteered knowing that the guy that's next to them is going to be the best.
Yeah.
It was okay. We're going to be an elite unit. At least I know that this guy right here is going to be, as good as me and protect him.
yeah, I get chills every time I start this series, is because of what Ryan's basically saying. These are guys that they trust the guy next to them. They know that they were the elite at the time. They pushed it, and they did. It's just crazy to think that they actually did these things, because there are so many. You can read a book, you can read history about it, and it just does not do the same justice as being there at that time. Even this show does a fantastic job. These are the men doing it. Thank you, Tom Hanks, for putting this out, by the way. And
have you noticed, real quick, that everybody that they cast in that thing looks like they could have been born in 1920?
yeah,
They did it on purpose.
Livingston has such a lantern jaw, like some shit from the 1940s.
I gotta say though, talk about the whole Band of Brothers things. It does a really good job on the description I've heard of combat. I've heard it described as hours of extreme boredom, followed by seconds of sheer terror, followed by extreme boredom.
yeah.
And I thought by doing this show, it explains I thought they did a good feel of that, just that second of shit.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now we're bored again.
But the thing is,
I liked that.
is on this episode, Kurahi, I think the things that actually stood out to me, like Ryan said, is that they put themselves in this elite group.
Yeah.
They wanted to understand that the person next to them was the best. But I think it also really comes down to is the Easy Company, who actually was probably the best company in the entire war at that time. They have to give it to their trainer. They really do, because he put them through hell.
And it was fear that drove him through the entire thing. I mean, which sort of came out the later part of the episode was, him standing at sort of the door like, oh shit, now here it's getting real.
Yeah.
Before I was just kind of loving the power that I had, but at the same time, his insecurity made for an incredibly good unit.
Yeah, it did.
I gotta say, though,
I mean, 3 miles up and 3 miles down.
I never watched. I didn't see this when it originally came out because I hate David Schwimmer with a passion for some strange reason. And so when the first time Jay actually watched was to James, he's like, David Schwimmer's not in this a whole lot. Don't worry. It's like, because I literally, my first comment was, fuck David Schwimmer.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, he plays the perfect whiner, sniveling, the guy you've always wanted to love to hate.
I mean, who
That was
literally
him in this movie.
Who
the show,
literally
excuse me.
took his unit commander under him and gave him an option: lose your weekend pass or get court-martialed for having somebody else clean the latrines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really?
He went overboard.
And I mean, the
And then
amazing thing is that these things actually freaking happen.
when all the NCOs came in and said, we will not serve under him.
We will not.
Probably unprecedented in the military history.
Bloody treason.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing that they just lost their stripes. And so that spoke volumes. And don't forget, the other thing that a lot of these guys are in for is that the pay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the average pay was what, $50 a month.
Yeah.
And they got an
Paratroopers
extra
got
50.
100.
Yeah.
So some of the reasoning why they said, I'm going to, that's money. It's twice the money. So I'm going to do it.
And that was
So
a
not
lot of-
everybody's a hero. I mean, some of these guys went in and did it because,
like James said, ordinary people put in extraordinary situations. All that training,
Yes.
you still have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
None.
So
Yeah.
the Gallic War is really shitty.
I mean, like,
and
how
that
many
$50
people?
is a lot.
How many people did you think when they actually flew over to Normandy? we're too scared to jump out of that damn plane.
Oh.
I mean, we're going to talk about this
We will
next
have to
episode,
save.
Yeah.
We'll have to save the
But then you
rest
get
of this
shoved
next
out
week.
Oh my god!
Well, that's
Anyways,
you're right. They were, and
wanna-
I think episode 2 we're going to have an opportunity
we're
to
gonna have
get
to
way
talk
more
about
into
that.
this.
I want to let everybody know that we do have a Facebook page. Tell us what you think of the movie, and is there another TV series or movie you'd like us to do along with a theme? And also let you know you can also help support Old Guy Tech by hitting the donate button. Please help us buy us a couple of movie passes to continue Real Flix reviews. And next part is the movie news, and that's Ryan's gig this week. So what do you have for us, Ryan?
Did I bring up Boyhood last week that we talked?
Boyhood.
Not that I remember.
I probably haven't. James, I don't know if you ever remember me talking about this, man. Like, seriously, about 8 years ago, I brought up to you that, hey, there's this movie that Richard Linklater's doing with this kid, and he says he's doing it for the next 12 years or something.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
And that
yeah.
one's out now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, 2014.
In
Yeah.
theaters. At
It's
least
done.
here in LA. I'm not sure if it's up near where you guys are, but it's
that I
called Boyhood. Still kept the original title. And they actually did it, dude. They followed
They did.
this
Yeah.
kid from like 12 years old. No, wait, like 6 years old, I think, or something. Like that. 6 years
Five
old to 18.
From the age of 5 to 18.
And they're
Yeah.
probably still going to get complaints that it wasn't him.
Oh, no, I'm sure somebody's idiot.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot from Montana or somebody's gonna write a letter and that's not the kid. Anyway,
Maybe another YouTube show besides Real Flix reviews.
not to mention not just the kid, Ethan Hawke, Rosanna
Right,
Arquette have
right.
been
Yeah.
filming this movie for the last 12 years.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Nobody's ever done anything like this. There was, you know what shit could happen in 12 years?
Oh,
You know
yeah.
how easy it is to mothball a movie that's only been going on for 5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's remarkable to me that this thing got made, and
And the
to me, it
technology
kind of-
change
I'm a
and
little
everything
pissed
else that
off.
goes with it.
It must. Be,
I can't watch this movie.
It must be a labor of love because there's
That's
no,
okay.
There's
He was
no,
hoping for hope and change. He'll probably
because
change.
there's no way this movie would have gotten made without it really being a passion of somebody involved with it. Because the
And,
way Hollywood is.
somebody like Richard Linklater that a studio would be like, yeah, you're just weird enough to pull that shit off.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree. He's weird enough to pull it off.
But not weird enough to hire Johnny Depp, thankfully.
I mean, but Ethan Hawke, what an interesting,
Choice.
I
Yeah.
wonder how the paycheck sort of works out on that. Because obviously they can't let you go broke 6 years into this, right?
They probably gave
How
him
much did the
enough for a
movie end
small
up
apartment.
costing to make? Out of
know.
curiosity.
That's a damn good question. I'm going to see if I can find that out. Talk amongst yourselves.
That's right.
So, anyway,
move on, huh?
we can discuss that we're going to be doing Quarantine next
What?
week. The next episode of Band of Brothers.
Just say part
Shit.
3.
Part 3,
No,
episode
we're going to
3,
do part
Quarantine.
2, part 3. We're going to watch.
And
Each episode has a title. We should probably
yeah,
give it the title.
Quarantine.
That's why they put numbers.
Episode 3.
Numbers. Episodes.
Oh, because you can't
Okay,
read it.
they're
The font's too
estimating the
small.
budget at
There we go.
$2.4 million for Boyhood.
You say 2.4?
How much?
2.4
That's it?
million estimated for Boyhood.
What is
Wow.
that? Does that change from
Wow.
the casting couch?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, no wonder it was made. People were willing to gamble on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
quite a bit of money.
Wow, wow, wow.
But for, that many years.
I mean, he cast his daughter as the other little girl in it, so it
Yeah.
saves some money there.
Yeah.
True.
It probably cut corners.
She still had to get union scale, which then was probably $50 or something.
So,
day.
do you have any other news, Ryan?
Oh, I think we should be.
Well, not really so much. All the news really today is just rumors and stories of remakes coming out. So I figured
Really?
I'd turn his attention
Gosh, you
towards the
think?
past for just 10 seconds and say that this week in 1989, Mel Blanc died,
Yeah.
and that was one of the true heroes of not just cartoons but cinema in general.
Absolutely.
So go out and watch a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, if you people don't know who the hell that is, go look him up and watch his crap.
The man of a
If you don't know
thousand
who he
voices.
is, he was everybody.
He
Literally.
There is a
everybody.
documentary out with his daughter, and she talks about the history of everything he's done. And you guys, if you get a chance, you want to look it up.
Is that like a 7-hour documentary?
No. It's like about 2 hours. It's not a real long one, But she talks about she went with him a lot as a child and was always in the studio watching him get in the character.
Wow.
And he actually, you know, not only was he doing his voice acting, but he would get in the physical character as well. It was fascinating. It was very, very interesting. So that, you know, if you get a chance to watch that, yeah, that was cool.
I would love to see it because he looks like Peter Lorre. I know that's a state reference, but he really look up Peter Lorre.
Yeah.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, next week's movie is the old guy's pick. So, what movie are you picking?
So, since you told me you were thinking about one of the things you were going to do as a movie and then you were from a childhood that you remembered. So, this movie almost fills two things for me.
Really?
So, yeah. This is a movie made in 1963, probably one of the finest movies ever made, called The Great Escape. If you guys haven't seen it, starring Steve McQueen, James Gardner, Richard Attenborough, Charles Bronson. I mean, it just goes on. James Coburn, David McCallum.
So it can't be from your kid because this is a talkie.
Yeah, no. So anyway, this is what I consider a true 5 out of 5 movie. I mean, it's just The Great Escape. Yeah, it's incredible.
1963.
Young critiques.
What?
So let's see how this movie holds up to the younger critiques.
That's right. That's right.
So,
you haven't seen this yet? The hell?
He hasn't? You haven't seen The Great Escape?
ladies and gentlemen, I gave the movie the Usual Suspects a 5 out of 5.
Usual.
James gave it a 5 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 5 out of 5. The old guy playing the Russian judge gave it a 4 out of 5.
Right.
Next week's movie is The Great Escape and Episode 3, A Band of Brothers. And as usual, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.